So the other day I did a video, and in that video I was talking about landscaping and building, and in that video I asked if any of y'all would like for me to do a build video where I kind of just go over how to build a Sims house, how to do landscaping and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of y'all said yes, CJ, please drop the video, so I'm gonna record it today. Now I've done a video kind of like this in the past where I kind of go over a little bit of everything like building, furnishing, floor plans, and landscaping, but I want to make a new video because it's been a while since that video and I feel like I've learned a lot more since then, so I was like, maybe I need to just re-record it, you know? So today I want to show you how to build 2 houses in The Sims, and don't worry, one house works off of the other house, so it's gonna be very, very simple. And I want to go over, I guess, you know, how to landscape, how to furnish, and all that kind of stuff too. Now, I'm building this in Sunset Valley. I just chose the base game world today, and I placed down a 20 by 20 lot. So when it comes to building in The Sims 3 and The Sims 2, you have to kind of decide on if you want to include a foundation before you even start building, because you can't really place a foundation underneath a house without already having one there. It's not like The Sims 4 where you can just drag or drop the building down. So you have to kind of decide early on, and there's really no benefit or disadvantage to really having a foundation, really. If you're on a budget, it's probably more expensive to have a foundation because it costs money, but there's really no benefit. I mean, the only benefit really is that you'll need stairs if it's a foundation, right? So I guess maybe I'll show you how to build a house with a foundation just in case you want to know, but just trust me, the things I'm going to tell you can also be applied without a foundation, so it's going to be easy. I think the first thing we'll do is we'll get our foundation tool, and if you don't know, the foundation tool can be found right here. Click down here, it'll say platforms, foundations, and decks. Just click on that, and then you'll have your foundation. Usually you can kind of like drag it out, you know, no problem. But if you don't know, if you hold down the Alt button and you go to drag, it actually makes the foundation kind of short. So this is the normal height, this is a short height, so that's kind of cool, right? So for the sake of the tutorial, we're not going to use the Alt thing, but I just kind of wanted to point it out. If you hold down Alt, it makes it small. So we're going to go ahead and just get our foundation, and we're going to just drag out, why don't we do like a 10 by, I don't know, let's do 10 by 7. I want something kind of big. We're going to do a 10 by 7, and it's just going to be a rectangle. Maybe, honestly, we can make it a little bit bigger. We're going to make it 1 tile bigger on both sides. So it ends up being a 12 by 1. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to pick a corner of the build. Now, it doesn't really matter what side you pick, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to go over here to the left side, and I'm just going to drag out maybe a 6 by, let's do a 6 by 3. If you look at the house from a top-down perspective, you'll see that it kind of looks like the letter L in a way. So we have like this big piece, or maybe like the letter P, I don't know. But it kind of looks like an L in a way, right? So you have like a long piece right here, a long rectangle, and then you have a little square, or I guess like a smaller rectangle here. Okay, so before I add any walls or anything like that, we're gonna go ahead and add a stair, seeing as how we have a foundation and you need a stair for a foundation. I'm gonna just go get my stair, and if you don't know, the stairs are located right here in build mode. So I'm gonna go here, and then I am going to just pick one of my stairs. I'm going to use this one, the Homestyle Ascension device from Nanotech Crafters. Now, if you go over here, you'll see there's an option that says stair width. It may look a little different because OBS and the cursor, but if you go down here, you'll have a section that says stair width. So it's usually on 1 by default. I think I'm going to make mine go to 4. And basically this just makes your stair wider. If it's set to 1, you have to place down each individual piece. But if you have it set to like 4 or 5, it'll just make one big long piece. So one of the interesting things about The Sims 3 is that you need to have 2 empty spaces in order to place a door down. So I'll show you what I mean. So if you look close, you'll have like a square here and a square here. This will be your 2 tile spaces, right? So I'm just going to just demonstrate for a second. So you see how we have like 2 empty spaces? This will allow you to place a door down. So, you know, you'll have your door or whatever. If you just do 1 empty space, so let's just say I build a wall right here. If you have 1 empty space, for some reason, and I don't know why, you're not allowed to place a door. Even if I delete this wall behind it, you still cannot place a door right here. I think it's because it clips with the stair. Now, if you turn on move objects on, you can place a door and it will work, but by default you can't. So since you can't do it by default, I'm just going to turn my cheat back off for a second just for the sake of the tutorial. But just know, if you want it on a 1 tile, move objects is the way to go, but we're just not going to do that today. Okay, we're not going to do it. Okay, so now that I kind of already have some of the walls built out, we're just going to go ahead and fill the rest of it in. So we're just going to take our wall tool and we're going to just trace around the rest of the foundation. So now basically our house is done. And in The Sims 3, for some reason, auto roof is usually just turned on. I like to turn it off. I don't really like to use auto roof, but even if you did, you technically have your build done. Like literally, it's completely done, y'all. But I'm gonna go in and make it look a little bit better. So I think if anything, y'all, I might end up extending this out another tile just so it'll be a little bit bigger. So the new rectangle is a 12 by 8, by the way. We're gonna go ahead and start roofing. So usually what I'll do is I'll get the flat roof piece right here and I'll just hold down the shift button just to kind of fill in all the stuff at the top. This just makes it a lot easier for me to kind of like see what I have to roof. I feel like when it comes to roofing in The Sims, I feel like a lot of people can kind of get the wall stuff down pat. It's just the roofing part that really confuses everybody and they're like, I don't know what to do. So a good place to kind of start when you want to roof a build is you want to try to cover up the big part first and then you can work off of the big part. So in a build like this, since it's just like a simple L-shaped house, the big part would be this really big rectangle right here. So we're going to fill this in first. And there's a lot of ways you can roof in The Sims. I'm just going to use a gabled roof. So we're just going to like drag it and just cover up this big piece. And as you can see, since we have the big piece filled up, it doesn't look as scary anymore, right? So now you could take the same gable roof and we can just drag this in. Make sure that little back piece goes into the roof. I don't know if you can really tell. You just want to make sure it goes into the roof so it looks more realistic, more seamless and stuff like that. You don't want to have a gap because it just doesn't look good in my opinion. So see how we have this little gap? That doesn't really look good. So we want to make sure that you drag it all the way in like so. And now your house is basically done. All you really have to do now is get your doors, your windows, and your wallpaper. And honestly, y'all, you're done. Your house is completely done. I mean, you could definitely play like this, you know? So I think I want to use this roofing right here. This is the neutral slate roof. So we're just going to make it black like so. Or honestly, should we go for brown? Let's make it brown, y'all. We're going to make it brown. We're going to go to the wood shingles instead. I like this one more. Now that we have that out the way, I'm going to go ahead and get some wallpapers. I feel like sometimes people can struggle when it comes to like the exterior wallpapers in a sim build. I think I struggle a lot more with the interior wallpaper, but it can be kind of daunting when you don't really know how to make it look. There's really no right or wrong way to build a Sims house. You know, as long as it's functional and your Sims can survive, there's no right or wrong way. But I'm going to just kind of go for something really suburban and really simple. If you want to get to the wallpapers, go to your build mode and you want to go and click on this little wallpaper thing right here where it says wall covering. Click on it. And then it'll take you to all of the different types of wallpaper. So they're all categorized. You have paint, wallpaper, tile, paneling, masonry, rock and stone, siding, wall sets, you have miscellaneous, and if you want to see like all of them, you just hit the infinity sign and you can scroll. But I want this to kind of be like a suburban style home, you know, just like a basic everyday house. So I'm going to go over to where it says siding, and I am going to, and I have a lot of these by the way, so just ignore these right here. But I'm going to scroll all the way down and I'm going to go to this one right here. So this one is the horizontal clapboard. I like this one the best. We have a couple of other ones in the base game. So we have this one, we also have this one, and we have like some that are different colors. But I really just like the basic white one. I think it's because if you look close, it has like a darker shadow. And I just like that dark shadow because it makes the rest of the wallpaper stand out. So I'm going to get my wallpaper and I'm going to hold down the shift button on one of the walls. And this way it covers the entire wall for you. Back in the day, I didn't know that was a thing in The Sims. So what I used to do was just this. But like, that's useful if you're trying to do like different segments. But if you're trying to cover up the whole thing, just like hold down the shift button and it's so easy. It works for the floors too. Really simple. So I will say, I don't know if it really shows up on the video, but on my monitor, the wallpaper looks kind of green. So I'm just going to go in and we're going to change the color of it. Okay, y'all, I think I'm going to make my house yellow. I know it may not look good with my roof, but I want a color other than white just to kind of like show you something. So I'm just gonna pick a yellow house for today. But you can make it whatever color you want to. It doesn't really matter. I feel like it looks kind of green, but trust me, it is yellow. It just looks like that because of the lighting in the game. But it is yellow. And you know what? I guess maybe I could change my roof now. Maybe we'll go for like a different one so it can kind of look more like a spring house. So I want to go back to my wallpaper and I'm going to go back to the siding. But if you look close, you'll see that we have these two different wallpapers that are beside it. It looks similar, but they have like white lines going down the middle. So these are known as edge pieces, or I like to call them corner pieces. There's a right side and there's also a left side. What you can do is you can use these on the corner of a build, and I just like using these because it makes the build more interesting looking. It gives it a little bit more detail. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna just get our corner pieces. So this is the right side. So we're gonna get the right side piece and put it on the right side of the build. We're gonna get the left side, put it on the left side. We're just going to go like this, and we're just going to do this for every corner of the build. I know that it is white right now, but don't worry, we're going to recolor it. But we're just going to go ahead and just match up all of the corner pieces with the corner. Okay, y'all, so I had to move my webcam because I was kind of in the way. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and click on our create a style tool. We're going to click on a yellow wallpaper right here. And as you can see, it just tells you like the color of this wallpaper. So there's a yellow part, there's a white part. All I'm going to do now is just drag this piece right here, and we're going to drag this onto the white pieces, and this will allow the game to fully recolor it for you. If you want to like maybe just recolor one part, you can also do that as well, but I'm just going to leave it white. So now that that is out the way, all we really have to do is just pick our windows and our doors, and we're pretty much be done. So let's go ahead and just pick a window. I'm just going to use stuff from base game. That way everyone can kind of follow along. So depending on what you have in your game, you may have to scroll for a little bit, but I am going to use this window. This is the back to basic window. I'm just going to use this window, and I'm going to just place a couple on the front panel. I don't know. I may do like 2, or I guess we can do 4. Let's do 4. We'll place 4 windows right here in front. I'm going to use this again, and I'm just going to put 2 maybe on this side. Sometimes I put more or less, depending on what the floor plan will be, but I just like to go around the house sometime and just place some. Usually I do move these, depending on, again, like I said, on what the floor plan is, but we're just going to get a couple. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this window, and I'm going to click on this first piece, and I'm just going to make it go in a little bit kind of like that. Now, if say for example, I want every other piece of the window to be the same color, I can just drag this over here on top of the other ones, and it'll make the whole window the same exact color. And if I grab my preset, I can also just drag it over here, and the game will automatically recolor it for you. The create a style tool is cool. It's a little laggy sometimes, but it's so cool. I just realized too, y'all, that we have this empty space right here. So I'm just gonna go in and get a fence. Usually I like to get the matching fence for the stair, which I believe is this one right here. This is the gentle fence. So we're just gonna drag that in like so. So now I think I'm gonna also maybe recolor the stair as well. Maybe we can make it, maybe we can play around with the color wheel and make it kind of match with the windows in a way. We're going to drag this on the stairs and the railing and the fence as well. Okay, so now all we really need is a door for the house, and I think I'm going to use this one. This is the double redunda doors. We're just going to use this one. Again, I don't understand why I made this house yellow. Like, looking back, y'all, why did it need to be yellow? I don't know. But we basically have our door, and then all we have to do now to kind of finish off the outside is really just go and put something here on this tile. So I think I'm gonna go and maybe just use wood. You know, we can have like a wood front porch. I'm just gonna use like one of these right here from the base game. These are free, by the way. So if you're ever on a budget, there's just free wood floor in the game. But I'm gonna use this one, and I'm just gonna make it a little bit darker just so it can kind of match in with the stair. So if you want to like follow along step by step, this is the hex code for the floor right here. This is the hex code, and then the hex code for the stair is this one right here, and then for the window it is this right here. This is just if you want to follow along step by step. You know, you can make it whatever color you want to, but if you want it to be just like mine, here you go. And then as for like the wallpaper, the yellow piece right here is this hex code, and then this right here is for like the white part. But that's basically like all the stuff. So we'll do the landscaping in a little bit, but let's just go ahead and tackle the floor plan. So one of the cool things about these kind of houses is that it's really not that hard to do a floor plan for. I think this is like a part where a lot of other simmers do kind of struggle as well. Floor plans can be kind of confusing. I struggle with them myself. It's just trial and error, honestly. But one of the cool things about doing a L-shaped house kind of like this is that if you keep this wall right here, you know, this is the rectangle, this is the square, you kind of already have like some of the floor plan done for you. This could honestly just be a bedroom, or it could be whatever you want it to be. I think for the sake of the tutorial, we'll make this the bedroom. I'm going to probably like move these windows over a little bit. A lot of the times what I'll do with a floor plan like this is I'll start off with the first corner that I see by the door. So usually I would have probably like done something kind of like this to make the bedroom kind of big. But since we already have this piece, I don't really need to do that. Okay, so we do need a bathroom somewhere. So I am going to maybe just start at this window, and we're just going to do a 4x3. That's like a 4x3. We're going to do like a little room like this, and this will be our bathroom. Honestly, let's do a little bit smaller. Yeah, we'll make it a little bit smaller. We'll do a 3x3. So we'll just make it a little bit smaller. And this way we'll have our bathroom, we'll have our bedroom. The reason why I made it smaller is so I could have a door right here. So let's get a door for a second. I'm going to just use this door from the base game, the Insta door. And we're just going to like place that here like so. All right, y'all. So I'm thinking that this is the bathroom, bedroom. We could probably have the kitchen be in this corner somewhere, and then maybe this can be like living room area, something like that. So I'm gonna just go over here where I have the wall where the bathroom is, and I'm just gonna draw out a little room kind of like that. It may need to be one tile bigger actually, so let's do one tile bigger, just so we can have a nice sized kitchen. So what I'll do now is we're gonna have to move the windows around a little bit. So we'll get 2 windows there. We'll probably move some of these windows over here on this side and maybe just have like 1 over here. So this is kind of what we're looking at so far. I'm going to turn on testing cheats enabled on. I'm going to also type in by debug on. And when I do this, I'm going to go over to the build mode tab and I'm going to click on sort by function, and you'll see like a little box right here with a question mark that says debug. I'm going to click on this and then I'm going to go over to where it says miscellaneous options, and I'm going to click this right here. These are your by debug lights. You may have to like hover over so it can see. The one that I always use is the 2x2 daylight light ceiling, but I call them debug lights. So we're going to use a couple of these and we're going to place them in the room. And as you can see, when I place these down, these just make the room a lot brighter, and it looks like I have actual lights even though I don't. These just help the build seem and appear brighter. Sims 3 is just kind of like a dark game anyway, just because it's so old. So like I like to use by debug lights just to make the rooms a lot brighter. I still recommend using an actual light just so you'll have one. I honestly have no idea what light I want to use. Maybe we can use this one, or honestly we'll use this one. This is the Luz del Sol light. I'm gonna use this one, and we're just gonna like place this around like so. We'll have one in the bedroom. We'll probably have a different light in the kitchen, and we'll probably have a different one in the bathroom. Maybe for the bathroom we can use this one, the lodge lights, and maybe we can use maybe this one in the kitchen also. Next up, I want to get an archway, and again the archways are just found right here, so I'm going to get an archway, and I want to get like a nice sized one for the kitchen so we can have a big entryway. Maybe I could use this one from the base game. This one is the Great Egress archway, so I think I'm going to use this one. You could also put it here if you want to as well, to kind of have like 2 entryways, but I think that's a little extra, so we're just gonna have one. I think I'm gonna bring in some of that same floor from the outside, and I'm gonna just bring it inside. We're gonna use that here. I'm gonna probably also use it in the bedroom, and then we'll have tile for the kitchen and the bathroom. We'll go over to the wallpapers next, and then as for the wallpaper, I don't know what one I want to use. Maybe something kind of bright and airy, you know? I'm going to start by just using maybe this wallpaper right here. This is the wall with dado, chair rail, ornate crown, and baseboard molding and trim border. It's a long title, but I'm going to use this one, maybe in this white color. And the reason why is because I'm going to do something really cool to make it look really unique. So I need to move my camera again, by the way. We're going to use this wallpaper and we're going to make it really unique. So I'm going to start off with this top piece. I don't know what color to make it, honestly. You know what? Let's go down here to this one at the bottom. We're going to go to this one, and I'm going to make sure I click on it, and then I'm going to go over to where it says wood or woods, and I'm just going to click on one of the woods. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to have a really nice custom looking wallpaper, you know. I may make it a little bit darker though, just a little bit. And then we'll have this piece right here. I don't know which one this is. Oh, okay. So maybe what I'll do is I'll go back to the wood and I'll click right here where it says color palette, and I'll drag it over here on this one. And then I may do the same thing for this one as well, just so it all can kind of look the same. And then now we still just have this other yellow one. And for this one, I honestly don't know what to do, y'all. Should we make it yellow, I guess? Maybe we can make it yellow, sure. Or we could just make it white, you know. That's always an option. But I think maybe like a slight yellow tint would be better. Oh, yeah, maybe something kind of like this. So here's the hex code, by the way, if you want to follow along. It's this for the yellow piece, and then for the wood it's just this one right here, by the way. And as you can see, I used the one from the base game, but now I have like a completely brand new looking wallpaper. It almost looks like CC in a way. Let's slightly recolor the floor, y'all. We're gonna slightly recolor it. So what I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna pick on a different hardwood floor, maybe like this one right here. So it's this one right here, by the way. And I'm gonna go to each section and we're just gonna drag it in some. We're gonna make it darker. We're gonna click on this piece and kind of make it darker. If you didn't know, you could also drag these into one another like this. So say for example you want it all to be just one color, you can drag it into itself like that, which honestly we might just do this. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just make it a little bit darker and I'll just drag these into each other like so. There we go. Perfect wood floor. And by the way, this is the hex code if you want to follow along. All right, so next up, I want to make the window kind of match in a little bit more with the wallpaper, because if you look close, you'll see that the window is a lighter brown and this is a darker brown, and I want this to match. So it kind of can be hard when it comes to windows. You kind of have to just click on each piece to figure out like which one is which. So like, for example, see that's like the outside piece. This one right here is the inside piece. That's what I want. I think it's this one and this one I want to say. So it is the second and fourth one for this window. So we're going to go right here, and I'm just going to kind of go up to like the orange section. We're just going to bring this in and make it a little bit darker. I may move it over a little bit just so it can be a little dark, kind of like this. And we're going to just drag this down here on this piece. And again, this is the hex code if you want to follow along. And the cool thing is the outside windows still look the same, but they look different on the inside. Which, by the way, I think I have these windows rotated the opposite way. So all you have to do to rotate a window is just click on it, and then you can hit the greater than, less than keys. And we're going to just do like that. Okay, I want to go over to our light for a second, and I'm going to click on the wood, and I just want to make this be a little bit darker, kind of like that. And this is the hex code for the light if you want to follow along. And I'm just going to bring this here on the other copies of it. So why don't we go ahead and start doing some furnishing. So I kind of get rustic vibes from the inside of this house. It's got to give it like a retro kind of vibe too. So I guess we can kind of play into that today. So I don't know what couch I want to use, honestly. I think this one from the base game could work, but we could also use a nice couch. So maybe we'll use this couch. This one is the Power of Love seat. There's also a 3-seater version, so the Super Sunshine Happy Sofa. I think we'll use a couple of these. Whenever I do living rooms in The Sims, I try to start with the TV or where I want the TV to go, and then I kind of work off of that. So we're going to go and just pick a TV. Usually I pick this one from the base game. This is the 36-inch Hi-Fi Plasmondo TV from Landgrab Industries. So there's a couple of ways that we could put this TV down. We could have it be here underneath the window, and we could maybe place the couch kind of in front of it, and then we could place the love seat beside it like so. Or we could move it off in the corner like this, and then we could just kind of like have it be here. I don't know. It kind of depends on like what you want to do. I think I like the first option a little bit more. So we're just going to bring it back. And by the way, if you want to like get something in a very specific place, if you grab the object and you hold down the Alt button, you can kind of get it exactly where you want it to be. And I like to sometimes make an L shape kind of with my chairs so they can kind of be even. I like to have the arms of the chairs kind of match up. And I really just like doing this because I like to get an end table usually and kind of just place it in that little nook. Sometimes it can kind of be hard to kind of furnish a house because you'll feel like you have so much extra space. So usually what I do when I feel like that is I just like to use a rug. So I usually use this one. This is the flying carpet rug from the base game. It's only 100 simoleons, so I use this one like all the time, honestly. I would love to get a coffee table, so we're gonna try to get a small one. Why don't we use maybe this one? I said small, but this is kind of big. This is the Larger Mission Coffee Table by Lulu Designs. All right, I want to go in and I'm gonna recolor everything. When it comes to the coffee table, this is the hex code for the coffee table. This will be it for the little gold pieces right here. I don't know, we could pick like a nice fabric. Maybe we'll pick this fabric right here, and I'll just try to go for something kind of neutral. So we'll make it kind of like a greenish color, and then for the little polka dots, we can maybe make these kind of brown, and then we'll keep the white. So here's the hex code for the white. Here it is for the brown, and here it is for the green. And then I'm going to just drag this over here on this other couch as well. I want to also like change the rug design as well. I think we'll just use one of the pre-made swatches for it. I'll just change the color of it ever so slightly. And then as for like the rug, this is the hex code for it. I think I'm going to go in and just add a couple plants. I like to just use a lot of filler furniture sometimes just to kind of fill in the space. We could have a smaller one. Maybe we can have one like right here. I think I want to have a computer desk or like a bookshelf somewhere around here too. I guess when it comes to like a computer desk, we just use this one since we're just kind of using base game stuff. We'll use this one, we'll get a computer, and then we'll get a chair. I guess we'll use this wooden chair right here. I like to use this one usually from the base game. I think I'm going to use this one and we'll put it here by the door. We're just going to recolor the bookshelf a little bit as well. We'll just make it brown, and this is the hex code if you want to follow along. And then for the desk over here, we're going to change this obviously. I like to use a different wood sometime. I don't know which one I'm going to use, just one that looks nice, maybe this one right here. And we're just going to also change the color ever so slightly. Here is the hex color. And then maybe I'll just drag this on the chair so everything can kind of match. All right, I do want to get some artwork, so I'm just going to get this picture right here. This is the McBob landscape, so we're going to put that there. And we do have a little empty space right here, y'all. You don't always have to fill in every space in a Sims house, especially if you're just kind of like playing there for the first time, because chances are as you play, you'll probably need to put something there anyway. But for the sake of the tutorial, we'll just put an art easel. I feel like maybe this little section can be done for right now. We'll move on to the kitchen. This kitchen is bigger than most of the kitchens that I do make in the game, but I made it big on purpose so you can kind of see a little bit more. And I think I'm just going to use this tile right here. So for the top piece, I think I want to make this kind of like a brownish kind of color, maybe a color like that, this is the hex code, by the way. And then this piece right here is the line in the middle, so I may make this come in some. This is the hex code for it. And then for this piece right here, we're gonna make this maybe a slight yellowy kind of color. I don't know. This might be looking kind of old fashioned, but it'll be okay. We'll make it kind of like a brownish color like that. And then this is the hex code for it. So now that we have that out the way, we'll go ahead and I guess we could use like the same wallpaper, I guess. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just like change the color of the middle piece or like that yellow piece so it doesn't look exactly the same. So for this section, we'll just move the color wheel. We can kind of go for a color like this actually. This is the hex code for it. Yo, I honestly did not realize how big this kitchen was. You know what? Let's do this real quick. Okay, we're gonna separate the kitchen. So I'm gonna just take my wood piece and I'm just gonna start here. We're just gonna make this go in like this, right? So we'll have a little bit of tile, but the rest can be hardwood floor. I want to separate some kitchen space from like a seating area, kind of dining space. I'm gonna just do this. I'm gonna go over to build mode and we're gonna get a low lying fence. We're gonna use this one, the fee fi faux fence, and we're just gonna drag this here. Now this is technically a fence, but your Sims can walk over it, so it's not gonna like make it inaccessible. We're just gonna make this a little bit darker, kind of like that. And this is the hex code if you're wondering. And now we'll have like a dedicated kitchen area and then we'll have like a sitting area. We're gonna go ahead and go to the kitchen counters. So let's go ahead and just use these. These are the counter culture counter. That's a mouthful. We're just gonna get a couple of these and bring them around. I know that I do want to get a fridge and we'll put the fridge here and then I'll get my stove. Let's just use a nice one. I think this is from base game, so we'll use this one. And then I'll just get my counters and I'll just place them like that. And then what I might do, because we have a lot of extra space, I'm going to delete this one and I'm going to go in and we'll get an island counter. I'm going to take one and we're going to alt place it kind of close to the wall. And then we're going to get another piece and we're going to just like move it together like that. And then now what we could do is we can get a couple of bar stools and we'll place them, bam, like that. And then this way your Sims can actually eat here and use the kitchen. I might need some extra space because I want to put a table in here somewhere. So why don't I go and maybe we'll use this table and I'm just going to place this down and then we're going to get some of the matching chairs, which are these, and I'm going to just place this down. I don't know if I'll have enough room for 4 chairs, but we have enough room for 3. So I'm going to rotate this and put it by the window. Now I want to go in and recolor everything. So I'm going to stick with this one, but I'm going to just change the color of the top. Maybe we'll click this one under masonry and we'll just edit it a little bit. Maybe kind of something like that. You know what, y'all? Actually, I'm going to make the countertops a little bit lighter. Here's the new hex code for it. I want it to kind of blend in a little bit more with this wallpaper here. All right, so now we'll get the upper cabinets. I'm just going to place a couple of these down. I like to usually get pots and pans over my stove, and honestly we could just kind of fill it in like that. It depends on if you want to block the windows or not. I'm just going to do like this so it can look more furnished, but you don't technically have to have those there if you don't want to. And then all I'm going to do now is we're going to go ahead and just drag this on top of these, but I'm going to click on this after I do that. And I'm going to just drag the wood over here. That way these woods would match, but I don't have to have the metal on it, you know? You know what, y'all? We could probably add an accent wall somewhere. So I'm going to go over to the masonry tab and we're going to click this one. This is the foundation wall. I'm going to use this here to make a backsplash. This is going to make it look a lot more detailed. So we're going to just go in, fill this in like so, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to the color wheel, and I guess we can kind of just make it like a brown kind of. So we're just going to go in, I'm going to go in and just like play around with the color wheel a little bit. We're going to go ahead and go to this one and we'll do the same thing, make it a little bit darker. And then for this one, we'll do the same thing and make it kind of like that. And then maybe for the white piece, we'll make that come in some kind of, I guess like that. So here's the hex codes for all of them. So right here, this piece, and this piece right here. And then maybe what I'll do is for this pot and pan rack, we can make this a little bit darker also. There we go. And then this is the hex code for it. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to the sink category, and I'm just going to get, I guess, this sink from the base game. It's not my first choice, but we don't have much in the base game to work with, so I'm going to put this one maybe over here. We'll go in and we'll get a microwave. I'll use this one from base game. I will go in and get a coffee machine as well. We'll get this one, and I'll just like slightly recolor these. I'll just, I don't know. I don't even know what color to make it. Maybe we can go for green or like a gray kind of color like that. Here's the hex code for it. And then for the microwave, we can maybe just make it kind of like a gray color. This is like one of the pre-made swatches for it. Oh yeah, we also have these chairs right here. Okay, so for the chairs, I'm gonna just go ahead and click on maybe this one right here, the pre-made swatch, because the woods kind of match in a way. And then for the chair, I think I'm just gonna use this cow print, and we'll just make it a little bit darker. Here's the hex code for the first piece and for the second piece. And then for the table itself, we'll just use one of the pre-made swatches, maybe this darker one, and I'm just gonna edit it a little bit, kind of like this. And then here's the hex code for it. And then I'm just gonna drag this over here on the chairs. And basically the kitchen can pretty much be done. I'm gonna just go ahead and get a trash can because I sometimes forget about trash cans. I'm just gonna alt place it over here, but you can kind of put it wherever you want to, obviously. Maybe to finish off, oh yeah, we need a fire alarm. Hold on. Let's get a fire alarm and put it right there. I don't like for these sometime to be visible, so I'll like move them on the wall, but we'll just put it there for now. And then I will get a plant just to kind of put something here. And I'm gonna use this one from the base game. We're just gonna alt place it in a corner, kind of like so. Okay, I think the kitchen can be done. I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so when it comes to the bathroom, I am going to use maybe a black and white tile. I guess we'll use maybe just this one for right now, and then I'll just go in and edit it. So I'm going to make this piece black. We can make it like a blackish gray. This middle piece, we can bring this in some, kind of like that. Or actually, we could maybe make it like a brown, since we have like brown in the kitchen, maybe something kind of like that. So here's the hex coat for it, by the way. So this is the top part, the middle part, and the bottom part. Honestly, you think we can make this like a slight yellowy so it can kind of match a little bit more? Oh, there we go. So here's the new hex coat for it. Okay, honestly, I may use some of this brick from the kitchen, and then I'm just gonna use some of this as well. So we'll make this piece here and here all be the same, but we'll have like a brick accent wall. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I don't really know where to put the accent wall, so sometimes I'll have it be here. Usually it's wherever the sink is or where the tub is, so maybe we'll just make it all the same and we'll change it after. So usually I like a shower tub combo, so I'm gonna just use this one from base game. So I think we'll use the same countertops. And pro tip, if you want to get a copy of an object without having to use the eyedropper tool or having to find it, if you grab an object and then you hold down the shift button and you click again, you'll get a copy of it. You can get and this works for like landscaping also. So you have a lot of different copies of it. So I'm gonna just grab this one, and I don't know, maybe we could just have it in a corner over here. I honestly have no idea where I want this to be. You know what, y'all? I think I have too much space in here. So here's what I'm gonna do. We'll put this here, but I'm gonna just build in a wall. So we're gonna build a wall right here. And you know what? I found the accent wall, y'all. It's gonna be this one. We're gonna just bring it over here on this side. Sometimes I'll do stuff like this if I feel like the bathroom is just too big, you know? And now I could put two of these right here by the door, and then now I could just get my toilet and put it right here. I made the bathroom a little bit smaller, and it's a little bit easier to furnish. So for the sinks, I usually just use these. I'll sometimes get one or two. We'll get one for today. And then when it comes to the mirror, we'll use this one. All right, so I'm just gonna briefly recolor a lot of this. I guess we can go for like a brown color. Here is the hex code for this metal piece, and then for the tile. The tile is kind of throwing me off low key. I don't even know what color to make it really. We could kind of just make it kind of dark like that. And then when it comes to this tile piece right here, I don't even know what to make it, honestly. You think I could just do like darker kind of brown color? Maybe this can be kind of black. You can't really see it that well anyway, but here's the hex code for it. And then as for the faucet part, we're just gonna make this like a brown or like a bronze kind of color like that. So there's the hex code, by the way. So with that being said, I guess all we can really do now for the bathroom is we'll just get like a little plant, and then we'll also get a little floor. We'll get a circular rugs. This is a little bit too big, but we'll use it. And then I'll just maybe use this circular swatch for it. And it does come in brown by default, but I'm just gonna bring this in a little bit, and I'm gonna drag this here. Maybe for this white piece we can kind of just make it a little bit brown. There's a lot of brown swatches in this build, by the way. So here are the hex codes if you want to follow along. So here's this one and here's this one. I'm gonna just place this here. What I might end up doing, y'all, if you hold down Control and Shift and you click on a light in build mode, you can click on it and then it'll have an option that says intensity. I'm gonna make it go to bright, and I'm gonna do all lights. It's just so dark in here for some reason. Maybe we need like another bitey bug light. There you go. We'll get another one right there. We'll use the same wallpaper in here. You know what? Why don't we just make it a green color like this? We'll make a green color. This is the hex code if you want to see it. When it comes to the bed, we'll use this one from base game. And then luckily this bed has like a matching nightstand and everything. So we'll use the matching nightstand, which I believe is this one. And I think it has a matching dresser, which I think is this one. If it's not, it looks similar, so we'll just use it anyway. I think I'm going to get a standing mirror this time, and I'm just going to use this one from base game. I'll also be sure to get a couple of lamps in here. Maybe we can just use this one from base game. We'll get two of these. And then when it comes to the bed itself, I think we'll just start with this pre-made swatch because I like the color of the wood on it. And then as for like the bed sheet, we'll just go to fabric and we'll just pick this one. And I guess we'll just make it kind of like a green. It's going to look kind of basic, but this is just a demonstration house, so it doesn't really matter. And here's the hex coat for the pillows, by the way. Here's the hex coat for the sheets. And then we'll just kind of do the same thing, just use these pre-made swatches. And then for the mirror, we'll just go and use maybe this pre-made swatch. and we'll just make it come in a little bit more. Maybe we could kind of change it up a little bit so it doesn't have to match 1-1. But here's the new hex code for the mirror. And then now we'll just try to get some art on the wall because there's really nothing in here. So we'll just try to stick to base game. I guess we'll use this painting of a sim fishing, I guess. We could probably get like another little small one right here to kind of hang over the nightstand. And you know what? I forgot to recolor the lamps. We'll bring this one over here on this one and we'll just like edit it a little bit, kind of like this. And then for the little piece at the bottom, we'll bring it in some. So here's the hex code for the base. Here it is for the lampshade. And then when it comes to the rug, we'll just use this pre-made swatch here. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to change it too much. We'll leave it alone. I don't really ever use this plant all too often, so we could put this like here in the corner of the room. Oh, I do need to recolor this, by the way. I forgot. We'll use a pre-made swatch, and then we're just going to edit it a little bit. We will make it kind of look like this. Here's the hex code for it, by the way. And the room is basically done. You can always add a little bit more in here if you want to, so maybe we'll just add like a little chair in the corner. But the bedroom can pretty much be done. We'll just use this pre-made swatch for it. So now we're going to go ahead and tackle the landscaping. I will say, when it comes to landscaping, there's really no right or wrong way to do it. You know, if it looks good to you, then that should be good enough. But here are some tips if you want to kind of like go off of real life stuff or realism. You know, a lot of times when you see landscaping in real life, think of like businesses or fancy houses or apartment complexes, restaurants, whatever it is. If you look close enough, you'll usually see the same type of plants being used over and over and over again. And usually they're in a nice pattern or design. So say, for example, we have this one right here, this blue one. You may see this blue one with some of these little like orange ones. You'll sometimes see them be put in a row. So you'll have like maybe a big one, two little small ones, and then you'll have like another big one. I know this is maybe not super realistic, but just keep in mind, you'll usually see the same landscaping in a design, a pattern, or you'll see them kind of bunched up together. So usually when I do landscaping in The Sims, I try not to use more than 3 different types of landscaping, just so everything looks uniform and it's just not a bunch of random stuff all sprawled around, you know? I feel like sometimes when you have too much of different plants, it kind of just makes everything look really busy. So I like to kind of use the same stuff over and over again. And then when it comes to The Sims, it's also kind of good if you don't know where to start, to look around at what plants are in the surrounding area. So if we just look around us, I'm gonna just make my high detail lots go up a little bit so you can kind of see. But if we look around where we live at currently, you'll see that our neighbor has some of these little purple plants. They have the pink ones. They also have these spruce trees, and these really, really tall trees are like in the surrounding area. So like if I wanted my house to kind of blend in with the area, I would go in and maybe use this little spruce tree from base game. I'll probably place a couple of these in the yard, maybe have like another one back here. And then if I wanted to like really make it blend in, I would use that really tall tree, which is the fir tree. I would probably get a couple of these maybe and like put it behind the house because these are so big and I don't really think we need to have a big one in the front yard. Plus, I don't really like how it looks with this house, so I think if I use one, it'll just be back here somewhere just to kind of have it blend in with those trees. But I really want to use these because these look cute. I guess I could use some of the stuff that my neighbor uses. So I want to go in and use that pink bush, which I believe is this one, the azaleas. I'm going to get a couple of these. And honestly, hold on, before I get this, we'll place a couple of these down. But before we do anything else, why don't we try to have like a fancy flower bed? I'm going to go over and we're going to get this. This is the taboo bamboo fence. We're going to get this and we're just going to drag it out kind of like that. We're going to go ahead and go into terrain paint and I'm just going to go and get a dirt texture. Usually I use this one, but let's use this one today. This is the light dirt. I'm just going to get the square tool and we're just gonna fill it in kind of like so. We'll go in and put our little bushes in. Maybe we'll get like a small one there. We can get like a bigger one maybe over here on this side. Sometimes what I'll do also, if I don't want to have a lot of dirt underneath it, I'll go in with some of these like little clover pieces and I'll just like cover it in like this. So now I'm just gonna go in and just place them down like so. And I think I want to introduce another type of plant. These little like daisy things, I want to get a couple of these. I'm gonna go in now and just kind of fit a couple of these around like so. I clicked on this grass right here because I want to kind of fill in some of this dirt underneath it. We're just gonna like click a little bit like so. That way there's not a lot of dirt underneath the flowers, you know? Okay, and then maybe to kind of finish off the flower bed, we can get like another shrub. And maybe we'll get like this one and I'll just turn on move objects for a second. And I'm just gonna like place this more up against the house, kind of like that, just to kind of have a little extra something. These are like my favorite ones that I always like to use, but I can't really use these because this is not base game. But we do have some other kinds. So we have like this one. Honestly, hold on, maybe this one would be better. You think we should use this one? Okay, so now we'll do some more terrain paint. So what I'm gonna do real quick is we're gonna click on this wood, and I'm just gonna like draw a line here. I'm gonna also draw one right here as well. I have to move my plant over some. But I'm doing this because I want to use some terrain paint. I think I'm gonna use this stone right here, and I'm just gonna fill in this section right here. And then now that I've done that, I can go back and delete this. Sometimes I'll still keep the floor, but I'm gonna delete this because now, as you can see, it's perfectly straight. It's not any leaking out anywhere. It's completely straight. We also have our mailbox. I'm gonna just put that maybe like, I don't know, by the house. We'll have it be right here. We'll have a trash can by the road. And I think I want to go in and get a fence to kind of like, you know, make it look a little bit better. I'm gonna use this farm country fence from the base game. We're gonna just drag this around the whole entire build. I think I'm just gonna use this fence, and I want to recolor it so we can kind of make it like a brown, and then maybe this can kind of be a little bit brown also. And then now I'm just gonna go in, y'all, and wherever I feel like there's an empty space, we're just gonna go in and just add some more shrubs down, and then we can also add some more of these little white plants too to kind of just go around it. And by the way, if you wanted to know about the hex coat for the fence, here's the dark part, and then here's the lighter part. Here's the hex coat for it. I think I'm gonna also recolor my mailbox a little bit. We're gonna pick this pre-mate swatch, and we're just gonna edit the wood on it to make it kind of light like that. Here's the new hex coat for it. And maybe for the trash can, we could just kind of make it white. So I think we're pretty much done with the entire house. But if you remember, I did say earlier that I wanted to show you how to make two kind of houses. The second kind of house kind of builds off of the first house. If we review really quick, we still have our L-shaped house, right? So the second type of house, it builds off of the L-shaped house. I guess we can call this like a block house, I guess technically. So say for example, this is your house and you're like, okay, CJ, this is fine. But say for example, you have kids or you just need more space and you don't really want to build a new house. Well, I'm going to show you something really cool that you can do. We're going to go ahead and go to the back of the house for a second, and we're going to pick another corner. I think I'm going to pick this corner though, seeing as how we have our living room right here. But we're going to go ahead and go to our foundation, and we're going to just make another little square back here. And then now we're going to go ahead and do another wall, and we're going to fill it in like so. And then now we're going to go ahead to our roof pieces. We're going to get our flat roof, and then we're going to get our gabled roof, and we're going to just drag it in. And now we have another little addition to the house. Now, say, for example, you're like, okay, CJ, well, I need even more space. Well, you can pick one of the sides of the house. I think we'll just pick this side, for example. We're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to come over here, and I guess we'll just get a 2x6, I guess. Maybe that could kind of work. And then we're going to also go in and just do the same exact thing. We're going to just go in and fill it in. I might need to make this like a little bit smaller actually. So this is a 4x5. So we'll make it a little bit smaller, and then we'll just do the same exact thing. We'll go in, we'll get our gabled roof, and we'll bring it in, and bam, now we have an even bigger house. It builds off of the already existing L shape, and you pretty much have the floor plan done for you, because now all you have to do is just kind of move your stuff. So like we can move this here, move this here, move this here, for example, or just move this over to the side. And then now all you have to do is just get your door, and bam, now you have another bedroom. And then for this side, this is a little bit tricky though, because I have a bathroom right here, so maybe this side is not the best example, but we'll just say, for example, right, let's just pretend like the stove isn't here. You can put a door right here, and bam, you have another room. Again, this one might not be the best example, seeing as how we have a kitchen right there, but hopefully you can kind of see where I'm going with this. If you need to, you can always like extend it this way, maybe shrink it over here on this side, so you can always like move it if you need to. But the main idea is that you can kind of just start off of the L shape, and you can keep building bump outs on it to kind of make it a little bit bigger. If you wanted to, you could also come over here and just do the same thing. I feel like at a certain point it's going to probably look really, really silly, but if you wanted to, you can come over here, build another little bump out. You can use a gabled roof, or honestly whatever roof you would like to. I just like gabled roofs. You can just kind of put this here, drag it in, and then if you scroll down, bam, you can have like an extra bedroom here. Honestly, this would have probably been a better example. You know what, we'll get rid of this piece right here. Yeah, we can make that like a little bit bigger, kind of like that. But basically it's the same idea. You just move your windows where you want them to go. Maybe for like a room like this, we may have to like move this painting over, but you can definitely squeeze in a door like right there. You know, maybe if you move all the stuff a little bit over to the side, you'll have like more space, but it's basically the same principle. But that's really why I like doing these L-shaped houses in The Sims, because you can kind of just keep building off of it. At a certain point, you're going to probably want to build a brand new house, but I feel like if you start with the basics like this, you know, learning how to do a floor plan and how to do like a shape of a house and windows and all that kind of stuff. I feel like you can kind of just take these skills and just work off of it and keep just expanding and making it better and better and better and better. Y'all, I just realized too that I never recolored these doors, so I'm gonna do that really quick before we go. I'm just gonna make the color go in some kind of like this. This is the hex code for it, by the way. But we're just gonna just drag this on the other door. Sometimes I'll just do the same thing for the archway so everything could just match. So I guess we'll just do that. But yeah, with all that being said, that's basically everything for the tutorial. I'm not gonna furnish these 2 rooms. If you want to furnish them, I'll leave this build link down below. You can furnish it. What I will do for you though is just put the by debug lights in here, and I'll just use the same lights in here too. And then maybe I'll just do the wallpaper. But other than that, I'm gonna not furnish the room. You can furnish it if you want to. But yeah, oh, and by the way too, I did move the art easel over here in the hallway. But yeah, on that note, that's pretty much everything for the entire build. Hopefully you can take some of the stuff that I've taught you today and you can apply it to all of your sim builds. Oh, and you know what? Hold on, y'all. Before we go, we do have some extra port space. Maybe I'll add like a little park bench. Maybe I'll use this one because this one looks a little bit more comfortable. All right, I'm gonna put this chair out here, y'all, and I'm just gonna briefly go in and just recolor the wood. And then for this part, maybe we could just make it white or maybe like a slight yellow. You can't really tell, but we'll make it a slight yellow. Here's the hex coat for the yellow part, and then here it is for the wood. Oh, and you know what? One last thing, y'all. One last thing. We'll put an outdoor light just so it'll be kind of bright out here. We'll use this one from base game. And if you place it on the wall and hold down the Alt key, you can change the pitch of it. So we're just gonna like put that here. And then maybe I'll get some of these like outdoor lights. We'll get some of these little outdoor lights and we'll just kind of place these around outside just so it's a little bit illuminated out here. And then I guess for this little outdoor light, I'm just gonna change the color of it a little bit, kind of like so. And here's the hex coat for it. But on that note, y'all, that's pretty much everything for the entire build. Like I said earlier, I hope you can use some of these tools to help you build a house. I'm telling y'all, building in The Sims is not really hard. You just have to practice. It just takes time, patience, and practice, honestly. But if you want to use this house as a base for something, I will leave a link down below. As you can see, the floor plan is done for you. If you want to completely change it, rearrange it, do whatever you want to do, I don't really care. I'll leave this link down below though. At least you have a bedroom, you have a bathroom, and you have a kitchen and living room. You just have 2 extra rooms for something, maybe a nursery, maybe an office space, I don't know. But anyway, y'all, I'll leave this link down below if you want to download it. But anyway, y'all, that is all that I have for this video. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to leave a like, comment something down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Thanks for watching!